few weeks ago, I realized I needed something to do outside of just my regular job, and I thought it would be a good idea to get back into gardening. I did get a lot of plants during COVID, as many people did, and then I kind of let them go a bit. I wasn't taking as much good care of them as I was before, and I did find a lot of joy in that a few years ago, so I really wanted to just get back in it. However, this time I wanted to do something a little different. My goal was to attract pollinators into my yard. We get a lot of butterflies and birds in South Florida where I am, so I wanted to just have flowers and plants that would support them. And I also wanted to plant some vegetables. I have a what's it called? Oh, elevated. It's an elevated garden bed? Is that right? I don't know. It's got like legs and then you plant in it. I think elevated is the one that's not elevated. I think raised is the one that's in the ground. Anyway, so I wanted to plant vegetables in that, and I wanted to do the pollinator garden, but I didn't really look anything up. I kind of just was really excited and went to the store. So I went to Home Depot and Walmart, and I got dirt and I got plants. I wanted to plant vegetables, some sort of something that I can eat. So I did tomatoes, red bell peppers, a yellow bell pepper, and jalapenos, because I heard that the jalapenos were really easy to grow. I am in South Florida, so it does of course get real toasty here, and it is summertime. Went ahead and went to the store and I got a bunch of flowering plants, and I had seen some bumblebees, some butterflies, like different butterflies, little moths at Home Depot. So I just got whatever plants they were kind of on, and I figured, you know, if they're happy with those plants, then they'll be happy here in my house. So I brought them into my home, in my backyard, and I was getting ready to plant them, and then I decided to do some research, which I should have done it the other way around, but that's really just the way that I customarily operate. Is I will do something first and then I'll look it up after. So I went ahead and I looked it up, realized that the plants that you get in your area should be native plants, and how important native plants are. And I did not know any of this at all, and it's really just opened up my eyes to so many interesting things. So basically, if you are not getting plants that are native to your local ecosystem, any wildlife that wants to eat or find somewhere safe to lay their eggs, they cannot, because those plants don't really support them. And maybe this is common knowledge, but I had no idea about that, especially the milkweed. So Home Depot had tropical milkweed, which is for monarchs, and I think I bought like 3 or 4 really lush milkweed plants, and the tropical milkweed is actually not great for the monarchs, and they develop, I'm not sure if the milkweed has something or the monarchs develop a disease from the milkweed, and then they just kind of pass it on. But it's very sad, because when they come out of their cocoon, their wings, I'm not sure of what it is, but their wings don't fully open up or develop, and they end up dying, which made me so sad, because I've had it the past few years. I will get milkweed and I would never find any butterflies. And when I did find one once, like we had a cocoon and I did find a butterfly once, after work, I did realize that its little wings were shriveled up, and I was not sure why. And it's because of that, most likely. So that's very sad. So I took all of the plants that I had purchased and went back and returned all of them to Home Depot, and I said, oh my gosh, I do not want to be responsible for the demise of all of my local monarch butterflies in my area. And that's kind of what changed my vision for what I wanted my backyard to be. I'm really curious to see what I can do here. My backyard is fairly small. Like I said, I live in a townhouse, so I did measure it, and now I don't remember how big it is. I think it's like 600 square feet around there. And I had just a really different idea of what I was gonna do. Like this whole wall behind me, I was going to do just like a lush wall of greens, and it was just gonna look really modern. And now my idea is very different. I want to have native plants, of course. Like 80-90% of the plants that I want here in my backyard, I want them to be native. So I do have a few ideas of how I can accomplish that. My backyard is primarily concrete, and I have a little border all around that has gravel right now, which I want to get rid of and plant stuff there. But the problem is that it gets really sunny in some parts, and a lot of the plants, the leaves will get burned, so I have had to move a few in other places. But that is the plan, and I am really curious to see what I can do. I do want to do the native plants, but then I also want to continue discovering how to plant vegetables, or what kind of vegetables to plant, and just getting creative with my space, figuring out what I can do. I think it's going to be interesting. So that really is why I wanted to start this, was to see how my yard develops over time, and hopefully I can just create or continue creating a space that feels really lovely and supportive. So I'm really excited about that. So far, the things that I've done are I've planted the vegetables in the elevated bed, and I planted some flower seeds, and I will go ahead and share on how I did that. Immediate combustion can occur. Interesting. It's actually fairly easy. I'm not totally sure I did it right. My hair is already Miami humidity. I'm not totally sure I did it right. I just went with vibes. I didn't treat the wood because the tung oil looked like it was going to be multiple steps, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to go with it. So I did a layer of the leaves like you probably saw, then the dirt. I added some of the worm casting. They didn't have instructions for just a garden bed, so I again went with whatever felt right, and then I planted these. I did move the planter over here because although these usually say full sun, I don't think that they mean Miami full sun, and when they were where I thought they were going to be, they do get a good amount of sun during the day, and even if I water them in the morning, by like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, they're super dry. So I'm gonna put them here. They will get some sun here. It just won't be that harsh direct sun. And I watered them and they look so happy. So excited. Can't wait for them to grow. They had a lot of these, and now they don't. I have no idea what that means. But they're so big, and these are my peppers. And these are the tomatoes. These have grown a ton since last weekend. And here are my flowers. The zinnias, and then I don't know, I think these are cosmos, or these are cosmos, and this is morning glory, and